I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market summary for the week ending April the 4th, where we saw feeder cattle, true feeders, going into the feedlot selling $1 to $4 higher this week and really active in the direct trade areas. Stocker cattle selling up to $8 higher, those that were thinner fleshed and really suitable for grass pasture. But new crop calves were not nearly as active as they've been the last few weeks, and were really unevenly steady, and some lower prices, especially across the lower tier of the southeast there, and that may tell you that there's not a whole lot of time for your western orders, or really your south central orders in Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, and southwest Kansas, to get those calves bought and get them backgrounded and really preconditioned and ready to make the most out of their pasture before those turnout dates arrive. So we may be pulling back a little bit on those lighter calves. But as I said, the feeder cattle trade in the direct areas was very active. Saw some of the best receipts we've seen for a while out in the country. And that kind of shows you that these corporate feeders are really getting more competition than they can stand in the sale barns. And the sale barn receipts are starting to wane a little bit. And so they're going out in the country and trying to secure some of these cattle for current delivery and out front delivery also. But we just continue to see these record prices updated, almost daily, and just pretty much every time Rationale would set or draw a line in the sand, some prices in an auction setting would just bore right through it. And started out, long time ago with $2 5-weight calves, blew right through that, and then it hadn't been that long ago, 6-weight steer calf, bring $2, went by that, and we've just been kind of thinking about a $2 7-weight steer, and we haven't had it until this week. And this week in your Midwestern, upper Midwestern markets, there were several places that were pushing and surpassing $2 a pound on a 700-pound steer. By far the highest prices we saw this week was in Bassett, Nebraska at the auction there. They had 2 loads of fancy steers, weighed 750 pounds at $2 a pound. Now some of the lighter 7-weights that they had recorded there were up to 208, but 2 loads of 750-pound steers at $2. They had 4 loads of steers weighing 814 pounds, fancy kind, bring 194 1/4. Now these, the bells and whistles are not really that far-fetched on these steers. They're mostly just calves that were bought this winter or in December there and backgrounded in some big traps. Well backgrounded cattle, hard cattle, not overfed but supplemented pretty well. But these cattle bringing these big prices. Had 2 loads of big loads of steers weighing 920, some big yearlings there, 920-pound steers at 177.50. So where are we going from here? Dare we say $2 8-weight steer? I'm not ready to say that yet, but there's plenty of these market watchers, guys in the industry, that think we've got a little bit further to go before we top out. But we're starting to get into some things that may pull demand back a little bit. We're getting into spring right now, where we're going to get into kind of a weather market, and people that play with the board's going to be watching that, seeing how much moisture we're getting ready for planting season. We're already seeing some spring type weather coming in. It's greening up kind of south of I-70, but further up north they're still struggling with some winter type weather. We are getting some moisture around, but also getting extreme high winds and some of this severe type weather coming in. And we expect demand to slack off a little bit when we get into planting season, because once these farmers start planting corn, even if they're not doing the buying themselves, they're going to back off of buying these cattle to feed. A lot of them have a lot of on-farm storage there, and they're still going to feed some cattle, but they're not going to be buying a lot of cattle at the same time they're trying to get their corn planted. But we're starting to see that change up, and once these guys that are running grass cattle get either their pastures get full or they run out of money, then they're going to start pulling back too. But at the same time, receipts are going to be pulling back, and the availability is sure going to be lighter, and it's just all going to depend on how those two things meet. Your fat cattle market this week was about $5 lower on a dress basis, from $239 to $240, and some early sales about $3 lower live at $150 up north. Regional weighted averages this week: a 7-weight steer in the north central states cost you $186.38 compared to $184.06 last week and $144.24 a year ago. Down in the south central states, a 6-weight steer cost you $197.08 on the average compared to $193.27 last week and $151.67 a year ago. Down in the southeast, a 5-weight steer cost you $201.93 compared to $200.11 last week and $150.28 a year ago. That wraps up your feeder and stocker cattle market summary for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. From the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.